Hi everyone.
Welcome back to the Spring Garden series. Today we're going to talk about how to acclimate your indoor seedlings to growing outside in 6 easy steps. Now, if you've ever rushed the process of bringing your indoor seedlings outdoors and getting them planted in the garden and your seedlings have died, I can totally relate to that. I've done that many, many times.
I remember that happening to you a couple of times. They were all burnt.
That's right. Because think of your indoor seedlings as little babies learning to walk. They've been growing inside under the protected environment of grow lights without the harsh sunlight or elements, and the whole process needs to be done gradually. Super easy. We're going to do it today in 6 easy steps. But first, let's go inside and get our seedlings.
Okay, it's that time of the season again where our house, if you were to stop by, this is what you would see before we take these plants out. Look at this. Can you relate? Everywhere you turn, we've got plants that need to go outside. But it's well worth it because the food that you harvest is fantastic. Okay, better get busy.
So before I show you the seedlings from the Spring Garden series, all of these here, guys, have been hardening off. I've been bringing them inside at night, and it's been really windy, so I also brought them inside to protect them from the wind. So let's get these outside, okay, Jerry?
Okay.
And then we'll get to the Spring Garden seedlings.
Is this it?
Good. Well, Jerry's back on camera now, and it looks a lot better with all these plants cleared out. Now, those plants we just brought out, I've been hardening off for about 2 weeks, and they're ready to spend the night outside tonight. Now, if you haven't yet got started with your spring garden, it's not too late. You can start your seeds indoors about 4 to 6 weeks before your last frost date. And if you want to grow the same seeds I'm growing, you can head over to CaliKimGardenHome.com, pick up a spring garden seed collection, and grow along with me. But I know a lot of you have already gotten started and are ready for the acclimation process. The acclimation process is called hardening off, and it simply refers to the transition of indoor seedlings to growing outside. It should happen over about a week's period of time, and it should be done gradually. So they get used to the outdoor sun and elements and are ready to get planted out in the garden. Now, the first step to acclimating your indoor seedlings to the outdoors is to find out your last frost date. You can do this at almanac.com, and the reason for that is, as a general rule, you don't want to plant your indoor seedlings outdoors while it's still going to frost. So you can start the acclimation process about a week before that. Now, there are some vegetables you can get planted outside before your last frost date, and those would be the cool weather vegetables. Look at these lettuce seedlings. Aren't they absolutely beautiful? These are cool weather vegetables, and you can get lettuce planted outside and also peas about a week or so before your last frost date. So you want to start the hardening off process for those vegetables about a week before you want to plant them outside. Now, the warm weather vegetables like the tomatoes, the cucumbers, the squash, and the peppers, you want to get those planted outside a few weeks after your last frost date once the soil is warmed up. So now that you know your last frost date, we're ready for step 2. And that is, choose a spot outside where you're going to place your seedlings on day 1. It's going to be a lot of fun to get these outside. So I want to show you my spot that I have. Now, you want to pick a spot that's maybe close to your house, under a tree, definitely somewhere in the shade where your seedlings will be protected from the elements, from the critters that hopefully don't come, and from the wind. So I've chosen this spot here, my little coffee table. We've put an umbrella up today to shade my seedlings on their first day out. Because remember, they're like little babies learning to walk. Now we're ready for step number 3. Step 3 is to grab your seedlings and take them outside to the spot that you've chosen to harden them off. You're going to leave them outdoors on the first day for just an hour or two. Because remember, like little babies learning to walk, you're gonna keep your watchful eye on them today. If the weather changes suddenly, if it gets really cold or really windy, or they start to wilt and not look so great, then you're gonna pick them up and take them back inside. So let's head back indoors and get the rest of the seedlings. I just love the look and the smell of these tomatoes. Oh, they smell so good. Remember, we just transplanted these a few weeks ago, and look how they've grown. And remember the one pellet that had, I think it was 4 little seedlings in it? Well, I split them all up, transplanted them, and here we have 4 brand new tomato plants. Just one more tray of seedlings to get, the ones here in the grow light box. I love how these look. We've got basil, peppers, and tomatoes here. Oh, I love the smell of fresh basil, and I cannot wait to have it growing in my garden again. Well, this is so exciting. We sat here together about a month ago, started all of these plants from seed, and look, now we have a garden, and we're gonna be eating fresh, tasty vegetables before we know it. So that brings us to step number 4. After leaving your brand new baby seedlings outside for about an hour or 2 max on the first day, we're gonna bring them back inside and put them under grow lights. Because remember, here on this first day, they're just getting used to being outside, and that needs to be done a little bit at a time. Now we're ready for step number 5. By this time, you're on day 2 of your hardening off process. And today, our little seedlings are gonna go into the sun for about an hour so they get used to the bright sun's rays. Now we're just gonna leave them outside in the sunny spot for about an hour because we don't want them to get burned by the intensity of the sun's rays. We're gonna do this process gradually, and they're just not ready to be out in the sun all day yet. So after an hour in the sun, we're gonna move them back into the shade for about 2 hours and back indoors under the grow lights again. So it might seem like a lot of back and forth, moving in, moving out, into the sun, into the shade, but it's definitely well worth it because it's gonna grow you strong, healthy seedlings that will acclimate gradually and be ready to get planted outdoors in the garden soon. Okay, this brings us to step number 6. On days 3 through 7 of the hardening off process, what you're gonna do is each day gradually increase the number of hours your plants are in the sunlight. So they, again, gradually get used to the sun and don't get burned. On day 6 or 7, it's time to leave your little seedling babies outdoors 24 hours a day so they get used to the weather at night as well. And make sure you always check the weather, because if it's a night that you're gonna get a frost, you wanna bring them in. So make sure you follow these 6 easy steps to acclimate or harden off your indoor vegetables to get them growing outside. The next step is to get your garden beds ready and to get your vegetables planted. So remember, if you haven't yet got your spring garden started, it's not too late. Head to my website, pick up a spring garden seed collection, and grow your spring garden along with me. It's gonna be so exciting to get these vegetables planted out in the garden very soon. Comment below, let me know how things are going with your spring garden, what you're growing, and what you're excited about for spring. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.